Hey, hello there, welcome back. Sorry I missed last week's streaming, but work laid off about a quarter of the company. I didn't really feel like coming and doing some coding after that. I'm not laid off, but it's still quite gutting to see so many of your colleagues go. But anyway, that was a week ago, so I'm back today and looking forward to writing a bit more Haskell. Plan for today is a couple of things. One is tidying up a little bit from last time. Last time I set up a resource pool. Let me get the code. Code. There we go. I set up a connection pool for connecting to the database, and then just got it working basically. So just did enough that I can run a query and print some stuff out. And that's cool. When I'm creating the pool, I hard coded a couple of things. I just want to move these things into environment variables and load them up in the config properly and set proper defaults in there. So that's just a little bit of tidy up to do. And then the second thing I want to do is have a look at, see if I can find the browser. There we go. Have a look at effectful. So the idea is to use an effect system. So rather than building my own kind of reader T style application monad and passing everything in that way, I want to try doing it with effectful and see what that's like. I haven't used effectful before, and I haven't done as much reading up on it as I should have done before this, so it might be a little bit painful as I struggle to get anything working, but we'll give it a go. We can struggle through together and see how it goes. But first of all, I'll do the config thing. So in this DB pool, there are a couple of arguments here. I'm just going to fix this, sorry. I don't need that bracket. Right, a couple of things in here. One is the timeout, or like, I think it's the idle time. I should check that actually. And then it's the number of connections to hold open in the pool. Let me see, does it tell me what they are? It says it's an int. It doesn't say what that's for. Okay. I'll just double check what it's for because that's kind of important. What was that from? That was default pool config. Default pool config. Here we go. So the int is the elapsed time before destroying the resource. Sorry, no, it's here, it hasn't lined up properly. The amount of seconds for which an unused resource is kept around. Okay. So what I really want to do is stick these things into the config. So in the config, it must have upgraded something in the background because it's very complainy today. It's correct, but there's a lot of complaints. So as well as a DB connection, I'll have DB idle time, which is going to be an int. Put a comment there. And I'll also have DB pool size. Also be an int. Did I get those types correct? No, it's a double for the number of seconds and then an int for the number of resources. That'll be a double. Okay. I'll let. No reason not to use new type there. Stop complaining. Okay. So now we can't just do this. We need to get some more things. Well, this might be more interesting than I thought because actually we're going to do a whole bunch of lookups. So I said look it up, and if we get nothing, then I complain. Otherwise, we just assume that we have a connection, and then we set it, which is fine. But what we would really need to do, if we're going to follow the same approach, is at this point, say maybe DB pool comes from lookup env. Something like pay me DB pool, and then say case I get it right, mdb pool of, and then we can say if it's nothing, then we do something, and if it is just a pool, then we do this thing, and so on. And you can totally do that, but it's going to get really deeply nested and a lot of repetition of stuff. So I think I probably want to rethink this a little bit and replace this lookup with something that's going to do a couple of things. One is look it up. If it's not present, give me an error. So I'll probably use neither type across all of this. And I'll maybe provide something with a default as well. So something like the DB pool, I could say grab it from the environment, but set it to 10 by default. Whereas something like the DB connection, I can't sensibly default that. So that wouldn't be the default case. And then I'll get back a bunch of maybes, and then I should be able to say, if you have all of these things and set them otherwise, throw an error, I think. Let's take a look at that. So I want to say something like get env, and that's going to run under IO, and it's going to give me back either a config error or a value. Of A. Okay, let's get rid of that and that. And that's back to where it was. So get env. Oh, we also need a string. So give me the default. Sorry, give me the name of the environment variable, and this will then look it up. We'll give an error back. Okay, so get env with some name is, what we're going to do here, we're going to basically do this. So the value that we get, m value is this thing, and we look up the name that's passed in. And then we're going to say case m value of, and then if it's nothing, this is where we want to do left missing m var, and then the name. Sorry, we need the pure back here as well because it's IO and error. This expects text, so we have to do a t.pack of name. Why is it expecting text? That seems unnecessary. I'll leave it as text though. Import that. Okay, and then if it's just some value, we will return right of that value. Ooh, okay, so lookup env will always return a string, is that right? Yeah, okay, so it's not going to be of type A, it's going to be a type string. Right, so we're going to have to do some reads at some point to get things back into the right types. So we're going to have another error coming up at some point. We have missing mvar, but we might have an incorrect mvar type at some point. Okay, so now I can say this is get env of pay me db connection Then we shouldn't need any of this stuff anymore. We should just be able to say pure right, and then all the way down to here. There we go. And this is no longer maybe a DB connection, it's just going to be the DB connection or an error. Okay, so what I really want to do is say anytime we got an error, throw the error and don't continue, which I kind of think should happen here. But the problem is when you get to this point, this DB connection may not, well, it's the wrong type. So I could say something like from right. I think that's maybe the function, but that's a partial function. We don't know that it's going to be from right. Oh, it's not from right. Okay, I think. No, what's the error? It's giving me back. There's too many errors going on here. So I couldn't match either of these things with character. Oh, I've got double problems going on. Okay, so we call getEnv. It is running under IO. So if I were to say something like let v equal getEnv pay me DB connection, the value, the type of v is IO either a config error string. So if I then use the do notation to get this, this is now of type either config error string. And that's what I really want to do is like double up this thing. So I want to escape the IO, but also the either. So I want this to say if it was left, then it should throw an error, otherwise it should continue. I'm just trying to think how I would do that. Oh, hi Tim, just noticed you joined. Look, I think if I have a function called this, this won't actually work, but let's imagine we had a type of either config error or config, and I say load config prime, and if we had some way, of saying, you know, like a DB connection comes from getEnv, and imagine getEnv was running under either running under IO. What I'm going to do at that point, then if this was left, then I don't think it would continue, but if it was right, then it would run the next statement, which could be something like pure of, oh no, not pure, because I'm saying it's right of config. Something like that. But I can't, because getEnv is running under IO. It returns, I don't know, I really want to get all of these ethers and put them into some sequence. I'm going to do that. And the first thing is, like, you can't ever escape the IO-ness of things. If I have a bunch of these values, is there a way of dealing with that? So can I say, you know, if I have either A or B and another either A or B, and I just want to get the B's out. So actually, if I have a list of these things, oops, a list of these things, can I get to a list of these? I can say rights, or all right, comes from Agda. Good. So maybe I can say I could run them all, and then I could say if you have any lefts and throw an error, otherwise get all the rights, assume that's correct at that point. Yeah, assume that if we don't have any lefts, then they must all be rights. That seems like a reasonable assumption. And then use this list to build config. Is that any good? So we could say case lefts of a list containing DB connection, something we have at the minute. So if we have nothing in the list, then everything is going to be rights. Let's really help with that. I don't really like the way that reads. So we could say if any lefts of a list of DB connection, these are my values. If we have any of those, then we throw like we want to kind of combine the errors of a list including DB connection. This is horrible. Okay. Else. And what happens in the else case? We can say, oh, we don't want that. Then we can get the rights of the list. It's going to DB connection. No, obviously have to go into the variable. Okay, so having the rights of the connection gives me a list with the connection itself in, which is getting there. Oh no, wait a minute. We know there's no errors, so we don't need to do, because this should now be safe, I think. That's what I'm hoping. So the type of DB connection is either config error string, from right of DB connection. I need to reduce the number of errors because it's getting lost in here. From right is applied to too few arguments. What type of from right? Returns comes with a right value or a default value otherwise. Okay, it's not quite what I want. I just want a partial function at this point. Okay. Undefined. Yeah. Okay, and then we can get the other things. Well, kind of in a second. So throw is going to be throw error, but we could say then pure left combine errors. We need helpers. So any lefts is going to take a list of either config error or string, I think it's going to be, and return a bool. And any lefts is just any lefts. All right, so the type of lefts is a list of either AB to A's. So list of either AB to A's, and then the type of any oh no, it's like not null. Is there must be a function for that. Nil or something. So I want to go from I guess I want to go from any foldable to bool. But let's look up null first of all. Is that something to list? Test whether structure is empty, and I want the opposite of null. I don't know how to search for that. Can I just say not? Null left. Okay. And then combine errors, I want to be a config error. So I'm going to put something in config error, which is like multiple things to show. That's a bit annoying. So combine errors. It's going to take a list of either config error string and produce a config error. So combine errors. Again, we want to get lefts out. And that'll give us a list of config errors. And then we want to really just make that a semigroup, I guess, or maybe a monoid, so that there is just a way of combining these things together. define my own list type. Why don't I just return either list config error or that? So in that case, oops, this whole thing becomes simpler. Because what we could then say, we don't need our helpers, but we can say if any, just before that, I'm going to say let results equal a list containing DB connection, and I can put new things into there without having to redefine this every time. So then I can say case lefts of results of, and then this is a success case, and then this is the failure case. So this becomes pure lefts of results and this becomes that thing. Get rid of these, we don't need them anymore. Not super happy the way that's done that, but it's going to keep doing it. Okay, I'll live with that. Okay. So this still doesn't look right. The whole thing doesn't feel like the right way of doing it. So now we have DB connection, and we also had DB idle time. I'm not quite sure I'm going to do this because what I really want now is not config error string, but config error or double. Okay, so you say get env double, takes a string which is named environment variable, and we get IO of either config error or double. So get env double is given some name is equal to, so the first thing we're going to do is get it from the env. So get env name. So this gives me back some value, but this might be left. So there's no real point in using the helper. Well, there is, because it fixes the error type for me. It gives me back missing envar. So we get that back, and then we can say case v of, and then if it's left and then some error, we just do it again. So there's a better way of writing this, which is from right. Okay, so if v is right, we need something here from v. Let me just get rid of that error so I get the better error back. Okay. So if v is right, then we want to say pure that thing. And this is now, this will give me back a string. So it would then be I don't say from right, do I? Do I? No. No. What I really want to do is say if it is right, then I want to do something to it, which is just fmap, I think. So if we say a equals right 4, and we'll say this is either a string or an int. Just check that. Is it not going to work? Wow. Until error, bad dependency, get linkable. It's not what I expected to happen at that point. Very annoying. Compile REPL. So we could say A is equal to just 4, not just 4, right 4. That's a type, either string or int. Okay, and then what we'll do is say, actually, forget that. A is equal to right of 4, which is either string or string. Okay, and then I want some function which takes a 4 and reads it. So the type of read takes a string, goes to an A, where A is something readable. So then I can say read applied to A, the whole thing is either string or int. Now you get right 4. So I want to pass read in, or not pass it in, but like I want to run read. I want to fmap read over the contents of this either type. And read will turn it into an int, or could turn it into double potentially. Yes, you can. Okay, but if it's not a valid number, I don't want it to explode, which is what read will do. I want it to give me an error back. So I really want something which goes, given something read A, I want it to go from string to maybe A. It doesn't, whoops, which is read maybe. That's cool. Also, we've got read A. Can we go from string to? No, it has to be maybe A, wouldn't it? It can't be either A or some error because it doesn't know what the error is going to be. Okay, so we can call read maybe. But we can't. Oh, we can't because it's not in scope. Import. Where was it? Text.read? No. Wouldn't be text.read. Apparently it is. Even if it's something to do with text. That's confusing me. And read either does give you back an error, but it's not the error I want. Import. It wouldn't be text.read. Doesn't make sense. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So this is going to be either string or maybe a double. Okay. So I think I can do my get env double. It's going to be IO of either a config error or a double. We get env double, give them some name. First of all, we get the value back out of the environment. It's not env value, just get env of name. And then we can say read maybe v. No, read maybe run on v. So here we can import that. And then we should have a type error. Okay. So we can say something like convert env. And this is going to go from either a config error or a double. No, let's just go actually, get that. Let's go from string to double to either a config error or a double. And then convert env is going to say case read maybe. It's actually going to go to an A. We don't know what's going to read it into. Read maybe of some value. Okay, and if nothing, and I need to be able to throw some kind of config error which represents that it can't do the conversion. And if it is just X, then we return write X. Okay, so nothing case. Turn it back into data type. It could be missing envar or invalid envar format. Type, envar type. And we will give this a name. Both need text. So this can be left of complete. And for type, and we'll give name in there. I don't know why I'm just unpacking this. That's also not the name, annoyingly. That's annoying. Because it's the name that I want to pack. Okay, so we try and read it. If we can't read it, then we return this invalid envar type error. Otherwise, we return the value. So then we can say pure of convert env name applied to v. I need more brackets here. Not the precedence thing, is it? No, it's not. Okay, so what are we saying here? This goes from a string, which should be the thing inside V. So it's either a config error or a string. Really, this should get the string back from me and then return either a config error or an A. It really wanted string to double. Why would it want string to double? I mean, that's no good to me. I guess what I'm saying is I'm taking a double, I'm taking a, I'm confused now. So V is a string, and I want to say apply this function to the string, and it's going to take the string. I mean, I could say that. It doesn't feel right. I need to say we can read A. Okay, we take V, and let's swap these arguments around. Take V, and we pass it through convert M, which will turn it into the value or some error. Okay, now I can get that, or I can say db idle comes from get m double, pay me db idle time, something like that. And this should now be either a config error double and if that is a right, then I can say something db idle time is equal to from right undefined, this is not the correct pattern, db idle. Right, okay, so I wonder if this is applicative. So a connection which is either something, I've got an idle which is either something else, and we'll get them into config. Can I say something like config here, config, and then db connection, and then db idle, do that for a second. Oh, first of all, it's going to be pure. This, and let's do idle time. And we're missing a value. Okay, so we need db, was it db pool size? Okay. Is get env int, and that can be pay me db pool size. So get env int is like get env double. Sorry, just trying to think if I can simplify that even more. Oh no, don't do this. Don't want to debugger. So this thing, int and then can we say db pool size? Yeah, we cannot, no, not really. That's not the worst error. Actually, what's this error? Couldn't match type. Config error with list of config error. Okay, let's get rid of that list for a second. Okay, we're getting there. Right. Okay. So effective to the rescue, but I need to do something with my DB connection because it can't be a string. I also want to do something with this. So can I say get as, and then say something like roll a string to IO either config error or a, and then get as, and it's going to take a name, and then we can say this, and then here can we say get as that. Yes, and that. Okay. So can we read a string into a string? So can we say read for type int, that reads it, so we can read it as a string, and no, you cannot parse a string as a string. It's a bit unfortunate. The for all will be implicit. We don't need that. Can we make it slightly shorter? I don't know if I should do or not, but can we say this? Oops. No. Because this will run under IO and this doesn't run under IO. Okay. Right, this thing now. We've got a string, a byte string, so it's like bs.back, which is in itself, applies to the contents of DB connection. And it's going to be apply hint functor law. Get hint, don't know why that's good. I don't really like that. I know you can play outside, but I don't think I want to, because I think it makes it harder to read. What I think I want to say is bs.pack. Yeah. Okay, so given the config, we pack the connection and we get the idle time and the pool size. So does that mean I can go back to using convert env later? taking way longer than I expected. I wonder if I could just say get env, and then I could just say convert env. Need to get brackets in place. It takes a name, so some name in there. And no. Why not? Convert m will take a string to an either. Oh, we don't really want to do that. No, okay, let's put it back the way it was. Okay, it type checks, so it must be fine. I'm just wondering about doing something a bit funky. Let's see if it works first. So I have these variables. They must be present at the minute. There's no defaulting, so that's not quite right. In here, actually, we'll say export pay me db full size is 10. It was. Go back to here. What is it? Durham reload. DB full size. No. How do I tell Durham that something's changed? Maybe I needed to say edit. Maybe it's Durham below again. Okay, I've got full size. Obviously, the easy way of doing that. So cabal run pay me. Whoops, I should fix those. There we go. Okay, but I did get pay me error loading config file missing in for var pay me db idle time, which is good, I think. Export pay me db idle time. I just have to be an empty string for a second. I presume there's a better way of doing this. I need to work out how to do this properly. Okay, we have an idle time, but it should be nonsense. So I think when I run this, here we go, invalid m var type. Not the best error message, but at least I can capture something. So if I then set this to be, I wanted that to be 10, I think, and this to be 5, something like that. Okay. It doesn't seem right to have to do this every time I change something. Okay, and it now works, but we're not using those values yet, so go back to DB. This should be dot live record wildcards. Actually, no, let's use name field puns instead. We don't want record wildcards, it's a bit a bit vague. DB connection, DB idle time, and DB pool size. DB idle time and DB pool size. Okay, so it should now pick up these settings from the environment. Okay, so I haven't done anything to fetch yet, and I'm almost out of time, so I'm not going to today. What was I thinking a second ago? I was wondering about overlapping instances. But I don't think I can do that. What I'm wondering is, could I say get env where A is readable is going to be, A is readable, go from string to IO either config error or string, and then we say get env is undefined, and then I want another instance which is get env but without that restriction. Either config error or string, get env undefined, and basically the definition of these things would be the first one will run convert and the second one won't. But I don't think that's how overlapping instances work. Because it's on a class, not on a function. So I don't think it'll happen. Okay, notice I've got two things here. I really want to say I have one function which gets to this point and then says if it's readable, then read it. If it's not readable, then don't. Because get env as at this point. Oh, it didn't error actually. That's weird. That surprises me. Does it work? No, it doesn't work. Weirdly, because when you try to call convert, going from string to string, read maybe fails. So cabal REPL, if we say import text.read, it was, and then read maybe for, say string for type int, no, type maybe int, that works, but if you do is type maybe string, it says nothing. I wish string was readable. But it doesn't. Okay. I'm stuck with these two different functions, I might rename them. So I might say get m string and get m although actually, having said that, I also want a default, right? So these things are not set. I want to give them a sensible default. So I could say here, get default. Given some name. Assuming A is readable. Then we want to go from A to string to IO, either config error or A. Get m default. Like I put name there. Okay, given some default, let's call it X, and let's call it D for default, and some name of the environment variable. And here we can say, look it up, and if it is, it's funny because it's only ever going to return right. Oh no, it's not always going to return right actually. So if we get nothing, then we return the default. If we get B, then what we really want to do is convert it. What's the name as well? Okay, so these should actually get default. In the idle time, we want to set to 10, and the pool size we set to 5. And now we're never using this one. So I might just rename this one back to get env. Okay, so now go back to my mbrick and I'll get rid of the pool size and direm allow it. Change directories and then say, okay, we've only got connection and idle time. So pool size should not be set. But I should still be able to compile run it. Okay, so it has a default now as well. Okay. And then we just get rid of all of those. Okay, that was a bit convoluted. I'm now loading stuff out of the environment. Yeah, so it should be a function which does this for me. We've got n value and there's actually maybe a string. And the type of the function maybe, a little bit, should be the type. It says given some b, and an A to a B, and maybe an A, return a B. So it's actually maybe D convert env name. Oh, no. It may be right D convert env name. Does that work? Not quite. Pure of that. No, what's not working? Oh, it needs m value. Okay. Can I? I'm not sure it'd be any better, but could I say this whole thing applied to whatever lookup env comes back to? No. Let's leave it at that. Okay. Okay, so I'll stop fiddling with this now, but I guess I can keep building up stuff in the environment. And reading it out of there and saying it config rather than having to hard code any of the values. And hopefully this will keep working. I can just, when I need more stuff, I can keep putting more things into it. I don't like this prefixing all the time. So maybe I could say something like, I thought I was going to stop fiddling with this, but I just can't today. I could say something like n prefix is a string, and then prefix is equal to pay me, something like that. And then when I'm getting something out of the environment, I can say env prefix. Can I read string to a text? Give me a second, I'll look at that in a second. I actually thought, I don't want it as a text, I actually want to read it into a byte string. And I don't think I can, because I think read only works for types built into GHC. But let's find out. Okay, import data.text, import data.byte string. I don't really care which one it is. So, whoops, let's not do that. Start again. Import data.text, but only the text type, and then import data.text qualified as T. Okay, so I should be able to say t.pack hello. Okay, so first question is import text.read. If I say read maybe hello of type maybe text, I get nothing, so no, it can't do that. Read hello of type maybe text, no, type text, sorry. No pars, so I cannot read string to text. I can convert it with pack, but I can't read it. And import data dot byte string and then just a type. So can I read as a byte string? Still no. Okay. So yeah, I think read is only for the built-in types in GHC. M prefix name. So I probably shouldn't use lookup M like that. I should write my own. Oh, but let's not do it yet. It's only 2 places. Remember to keep that in sync. Does that still work? Just out of curiosity. Yes, it does. Okay, so maybe now I'll stop fiddling with it. But yeah, I should be able to start adding new config variables in the future. And then actually manage the config properly through environment and not just hard code things in places. So yeah, that's much less than I wanted to do today. It took me way longer. But at some point in the evening, I did remember about applicative, and it did mean that I could then build the config properly, or in some reasonably nice way, and get inside these either values, which is what I wanted to do. Cool. So next week, hopefully I will actually get to playing with effectful. I might even have time to look at it in advance, so I have some idea where to start, but we'll see whether or not that happens. But yeah, thanks for watching along, and then hopefully see you next time. Goodbye, hopefully next week as well, assuming that work don't sack everybody. But yeah, see you next time.